Welcome back, everyone. This is the night shift. Once more, ZP here with Jason and Jake. And gentlemen, a new week here in Deadlock, and maybe some shifts in the meta once more, as in not just in the meta too, shifts in EU rosters across the bound, even about an hour before the show, no less.
Look, it's time for EU to take up some of the great learnings from North America. Constant roster shuffling. Bring it on, baby. We innovated this first. This finally European Deadlock is learning something from NA rather than the other way around.
Did we indirectly plan to all be wearing black today? That's what I want to know.
Color coordination. Black like my soul, my heart.
I hope Dan, who's coming on later on, is maybe wearing black as well. But if we're talking about meta, ZP, man, Gun Holiday really reigned supreme last week. I'm curious to see if North America has been able to pick it up, but also if we're going to continue to see it in EU and if anyone finally has a way to stop it.
We'll see it in EU. Like, I was checking in. I can say this more freely because Buff Enjoyers isn't playing this week, but I was checking with Lightbringer. I was like, hey, any new meta developments? And I literally asked Lightbringer, maybe more Gun Holiday. At the exact same time, he says, yeah, there's a lot more Holiday. Like, same wavelength, so Holiday Prio has gone way up. But for those who are tuning in, wondering what in the world is on the menu for today, we got you covered. This is what we're going to be seeing here today. Kicking things off, it's going to be Leviathan against Fearless Furies. Fearless Furies kind of slotting into the old Loto spot of being the reliable number 3 team in EU. The winner going up against the new and improved Abrahams, where it will not be Hoot and Obakim subbing any longer. Dmov and ABL have permanently joined the team, or in ABL's case, Jason rejoined the team.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Seeing Jamside kind of come out, I'm curious to see if Sonya will be in, or for sure be picking up the M1 hero carry of the team. But this roster's scary, like legitimately scary. I can't really see a weak link in this team, and I think they are for sure the new super team that honestly I don't even know if Buff Enjoyers can beat at this rate. Obviously, because they don't have technically 6 locked in. But even in their prime, playing up against Abrahams and the roster they're fielding is going to be a very difficult day for them.
Meanwhile, in NA, Jake, we got the return of Sneaky Golem. They're back and into it. They had a little bit of illness last week, but they're ready to reclaim the throne. And Bunny with Clock is up to full strength. Last week, they'd given 2 of their players, including Aiden, over to the Unks. But this time around, we get to see Pashi's full vision for his roster at hand. NA, it feels like the most stacked week we've had in NA for a while.
Definitely. I mean, I'm excited to see Sneaky Golem back in the lineup here, taking the challenge against melee creeps there, potentially in the NA finals. But like you said, it won't necessarily be easy. I think that even that challenger match is going to be pretty competitive, pretty difficult to get through. So just a super exciting week, I think, for the night shift. Really, just can't wait to get into the Deadlock action.
Now, also speaking of getting to the action, it's the end of the year as far as sponsorship goes. So, things are a little bit more sparse, but we still got you covered as far as the players go. It is a $600 prize pool per region here tonight, and brought back a little bit of crowdfunding where you at home can go and donate to add directly to the prize pool all night long. That will be split evenly between our NA and EU winners. So letting you guys know, yeah, it's a little bit lower in base, but it could be higher with your help.
Yeah, I mean, the community support has been amazing. We're psyched that we can still, even without a sponsor, provide you a prize pool. It looks like Jason has had us.
Bro, am I here?
He's gone. He's gone.
Am I here?
I hear you, but I don't see you, Jason.
My camera just died. My wife just brought me a coffee and some apple cinnamon cake. So I'm in heaven right now. Just like I'm gonna be in heaven when one of you guys out there are here to support not only the show but support the players by donating to the prize pool. If I'm not mistaken, ZP, every buck that goes in towards those donations goes directly towards the prize pool for that week.
That is correct. Everything put in there is directly into the prize pool, and again, split between NA and EU. And look, I mean, as it goes, we're actively seeking out sponsors. And look, in weeks where you don't have a name sponsor, we still want to provide competition for the community. That's just where it's at. But before we get into our first matchup, let's take a look at the pick priority from last week, which is going to be a pretty big omen into what to expect for this week. And the big thing that we saw last week, that was a trend that, from all accounts is going to be even bigger this week. Holiday back up to 6. The other thing I did hear, though, Jason, coming into this, is that teams are more willing to experiment with giving up Kelvin.
Yeah, I mean, we had to go through once, and I believe it was over North America with Saya getting it, if I'm not mistaken. And I think you can kind of see that some people are out of practice with it a little bit, though Sai was never really a Kelvin player in general. But yeah, seeing Kelvin get played a little bit, Victor being taken completely out of the pool when it came to last week. But also, it's been about the rise of Calico, man. Seeing her first picked once and then picked the rest of the time 7 times. And I believe we only had 7 matches played last week as well. So 100% of the time is kind of interesting to see that, because there hasn't really been, as far as I know, Jake, too many big changes on her. I think people just realize, oh yeah, she's still pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are just valuing, the scouting, the roaming potential. And then in the late game, I do think Calico is just one of the best characters for getting on some of these squishier backliner carries that you might be trying to play, such as the Holiday. And especially with Victor being completely banned out. I mean, I'm curious if that'll last this week, right? Because what you're saying, ZB, about how good Gun Holiday is, that hero seems to just be kind of doing what Victor was being picked to do, which is to say, get super farmed, and then in the late game, you're just a monster. You just carry the game. I feel like Holiday might actually go even higher in Proud, and we might see, like you said, some Kelvins, maybe even some Victors coming in here to competitive play, right? You're only going to get 2 of those first round bans, and I think some of these high Proud heroes are going to start to slip through with so many contested picks here at the top end.
My theory here, as I look at this, I actually think today, if I had to guess who's going to be going up, who's going to be going down, I think Doorman's probably going to go up. Based on how we saw people playing Doorman, I think Doorman is still really, really good, especially in how he's enabling objective play. And I think we're maybe seeing a little bit of the fall of Infernus. I think people realized last week that you don't necessarily have to prio Infernus as highly as some teams have been going. Like, I still think you'll go first half of the draft, but maybe not the first pick in the first round of the draft.
Okay. I think... it's weird is that I think people kind of overreact when it comes to nerfs, or potentially even maybe not so much buffs, because I think when buffs come through, they're big enough that people are like, okay, this is a viable hero now. But they kind of like overreact.
Wait,
I remember, if you can hear me, there we go.
I got you
Shiv,
now.
I don't know, my stream just crashed completely on my side. When Shiv got hit with some nerfs, like for instance, the rage not being able to channel out of combat from players, just you can't use it on minions, sorry. And then people started using it, and they're like, oh yeah, he's still pretty decent. But what I'm really curious about is how EU looks when it comes to hero priority, because we've seen massive differences in EU and NA, and we can see definitely the prio with Holiday, of course, going over to EU, even Ivy. Is this just EU, just to make sure?
Yeah, also, the first stat graphic was a little bit wrong, by the way. We were getting gaslit a little bit, because I was sitting there, it's like, I don't remember Shiv not picked in any of those games, but maybe my memory is the one that's going weird. But no, we've changed things up, and also this is the EU specific priority. For where we're at.
Yeah, which is interesting,
exactly what I wanted to see.
I feel like we get actually more diversity in the graphic when we combine the 2 regions, because there's just that slightly different perspective. Another character that I think is going to go under the radar a little bit, but I think maybe some of these top teams in the EU might contest a little bit more highly, is the Sinclair. It actually got kind of contested towards the last 2 matches of our EU Grand Final last time, and I suspect that with the playmaking Sinclair was able to pull off in that series, like it felt like actually a really potent character. I mean, not necessarily like top tier, it's one of those like back half of the draft picks, but I kind of like what we've seen out of the Sinclair. I feel like it introduces a little bit of playmaking that teams and players are starting to really feel like they figure out how it fits into the lineups.
I mean, think about Hoot and Task together with Sinclair Paradox, and they took that first Guardian 3.5 minutes in, really using that pressure early on. But I believe now, ZP, we're looking at last week's proper hero priority, because you did mention Kelvin getting through, and I'm like, well, 1 time doesn't seem right, but we need to get through two times, like you said. But then also looking down the rest of the line here, Yamato banned out 4 times. I feel like 3 of those were against ABL out of Abraham's last week, and then also Viscus getting a ton of bans in priority as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny how Viscus, like, nothing can change, and Viscus will just oscillate between like 3 and 7, it seems like, week after week. But I got to channel my inner Puckett. We got to move this show along.
Let's do it.
Let's get into our first matchup, and it's going to be Leviathan taking on Fearless Furies. And I got to say, I'm going to head it off right now. You're going to look at this Leviathan roster and be like, wait, that's 3 members of Goo Balls. Why aren't they defending? Because Goo Balls won last week. And the answer is Goo Balls initially didn't want to play this week. We had the lock in the spot for Abrahams, and 24 hours before, we still needed another EU team, and Hapex was able to put together Leviathan, which included 3 members of Goo Balls. So that's how it goes down. Sometimes the behind the scenes is a little bit more chaotic than expected, but Jake, as you take a look at this, a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah, and honestly, for Fearless Furies, as much as they've been that number 3 team looking in a little bit from the outside on that top 2 money match spot, this is, I think, their best chance yet to get it through. However, as much as Leviathan's a pug team, like, the name value on this team to me is actually pretty impressive. And we've seen many times in Night Shift how sometimes just bringing together these high skill players, being a little bit more flippant maybe with the style you're going to play and just going for comfort picks, strong style, playing aggressive tempo, it can look really sick, especially with, as you said, like Gun Holiday being top meta right now. Like, for me, there's a lot of opportunity for just individual mechanical outplay to really win the day. And so I think there's a real chance that Leviathan could actually go through to our money match against Abrahams.
Jason, as you're looking at here, to me, I think the interesting thing is that with the shakeup of post Trolley tournament, one of the players to me that is just showing to be a consistent mainstay, regardless of which team, but active in competition, it's got to be OCs.
Yeah, so I've actually been taking a look at like the Twitch streamers as of late this last week in particular. In OCs, I mean, he was at like 13 viewers earlier in the week, and he spiked up to like 100 to 200 views. He's definitely gaining popularity when it comes to the viewer base of knowing who this player is, and he has been a staple of the previous Gooball's roster of being, all right, OCs, you go get fed. We'll take ABL and DMOB to just kind of buy you some time. And when you get up to like 30, 40,000 souls, which you'll do around the 20-minute mark, it feels like in some games, then you come online and you start to fight with us. I think, though, inherently, that does provide some sort of detriment to how he can play in this team if the team doesn't play around that. I think we saw some major differences when you compare Wonder on Ivy and OCs on Ivy, because the Unks didn't allow Wonder to get fed the same way that Gooball's let OCs get fed. And you have to be able to do that for a Mouse 1 player if you want to invest in that as being one of your win conditions of the game. So for me, for them, if you want to see OCs carry the game later on, you got to play around that. And with them not having a ton of practice, I wonder if they will do that or they'll change up the style completely.
Well, as we shift to the opposition, Fearless Furies, one thing of note, Eplifine is now with Leviathan and left Fearless Furies, I think, like 2 days before the tournament. So, again, he was going through a little bit of roster mania, but some mainstays on Fearless Furies are the same. And you'd be remiss, Jake, to be talking about this team without talking about Surgery, where, some of his heroes I'm not the biggest fan of, but the one thing that looked incredible is when Surgery has been able to play the Doorman.
Yeah, it's such a powerful player-hero combination. You get a comfort pick like Doorman. I mean, it's the type of character that really does lend itself to specialist players, right? So people who really want to master it. I mean, there's so much unique tech on this hero. Maybe there will come a day when everybody has a sick Doorman, but for now, I think you really want to have this as a pocket pick. Like, Doorman hasn't been, like the top tier pick. So for me, if you want to get this prio, you can probably get it through for Surgery, and I think that could be a wise move for Fearless Furies. Also, Apocycle on some of these like late game farming carries, the Victor as his featured character here, but really anything that relies on that crazy farm level. This guy's a beast. I mean, the net worth he's able to grab in some of these matches is pretty insane. So he can kind of put the clock on the opponent, right? He hits a certain level of farm and you're just staring down a very difficult team fight. So Fearless Furies, probably our favorites here in the Challenger match, despite the late game roster swap. But this is going to be honestly a pretty competitive one.
I think it has the potential. I think if Empty Dreams and OCs kind of get going overseas, I think there is the potential for be a landslide, but I do hope it's going to be close, man. I want to see some more EU teams. I've been crying whenever we're not broadcasting, wanting to see more EU teams come together. I thought we had it with Gooball's, and then Gooball's got consumed over with Abraham's, but ZP, if I'm not mistaken, the draft's ready, and I want to get into this because I want to see how things have for sure shaken up from this last week. And maybe, just maybe, we'll see a ban on Holiday.
We'll see. And I mean, I think that may be a good guess based on what we've heard. If not a ban, then a first pick. Also, those wondering, what happened to the Mo 1v1? Well, it was a little bit too brutal this time around. There was a little bit of biting and we couldn't show it. Or more realistically, maybe the players finished the game too early and we couldn't get the replay ID. Personally, I prefer the idea that the violence was far too gratuitous. But first ban, Kelvin, Jake, at least as far as ban prio goes, that part not changing for Fearless Furies.
I actually think it does signal a change, because in the past when Kelvin was like the hero to get first, the number one prio hero in the game, if you were first pick, you wouldn't ban the Kelvin. You would just plan you're going to take it first. To me, this is like further backing up right now the idea that Holiday is that true number one, and an Ivy banned first. So I mean, Fearless Furies,
I like this
free reign if they want to take a Holiday here.
I like this though, because I think you take away Ivy because you know Fearless Furies wants Victor, so you give them the choice. Do you want Victor or do you want Holiday now? If they banned out Victor, then they're going to take Holiday, and now you're forcing Fearless Furies to pick one, because we know Appa Cycle on Victor can be ridiculous.
Don't you worry.
On the same note, it's a little interesting. Okay. Oh, I don't love the Inferno's first pick, but it is interesting to me that Leviathan would first ban the Ivy purely because you have OCs, and Ivy has been OC's signature hero over the last few weeks, unless now OC's has gone, whoa, miss me with the Ivy. I just want to get in there and gun Holiday because four-shotting people in the late game is really good. But Jake, Paradox coming in first. I mean, you can run both Paradox and Holiday the way both these heroes are played nowadays.
Yeah, I honestly, I think Holiday is just, for me, the reason it's so broken is that in the early game, you're just like the old Holiday, right? You're a tempo character. You're not actually playing to greed farm, super early into the game. You're getting active and you're playing with a Paradox, and it's really deeper into the game where you start, being more selfish, playing for the true carry style. I'm worried though for a hero like Infernus. I don't think you can really stand toe to toe against Holiday in the late game. Maybe the one vulnerability to Holiday is if you can like get on top of her and burst her, but the mobility with the jump pads, it's so hard to actually, initiate on this hero first with, how adept she is at getting in and getting out. Fearless Furies, they do grab the Shiv though, which has, also been one of those top tier contested picks, like we were saying, regardless of the availability of combos. And if they want the Victor, they could have it as well here. I mean, that's such greed though if you go Victor with Infernus, right? It's quite a lot of farm characters already in the draft. And so, okay, the Vindicta ensures that now they're at least a little bit more competitive for this like heavy tempo draft. I think that was what we saw from Buff Enjoyers, right? Is Vindicta, Paradox, Holiday, and like, almost all 6 heroes playing tempo, and Holiday just scaling to be a monster to carry the end game.
I do worry though, if you get a gun Holiday going, if you fly as Vindicta, I feel like you're just dead. I feel like Holiday's just gonna shoot you out of the sky with headshots. You're already squishy as it is. And then maybe we'll see like the long range that we were discussing quite a bit, the sharpshooter to deal with Vindicta. But obviously you have Yamato who can dive into the back line to deal with her as well. I just don't know if it's going to be more supportive, if it's going to be more like Aiden over in North America, where they'll prioritize damage and prioritize leveling that assassinate fully through. But with the Bebop ban coming through, if I can get my words out, Fearless Furies have no initiate. So I feel like now are you looking at, you have to pick Mo and Krill?
You would think, because taking out the Bebop is really smart because, okay, you've already kind of prioritized two playmakers by getting Paradox Holiday, and then you take out Bebop to remove options for Fearless Furies at the same note. I really do like this opening. Also, just to kind of expand on your thought here, Jason, you know who actually gets it worse from Holiday right now? Not even Vindicta in the air, but you definitely don't want to run a Mina at times against a late game Holiday because you go, I will Nox Nostra. And the Holiday kind of looks up and goes, I will kill you in 3 shots. Like, what are you actually doing? But Jake, Doorman coming in from Leviathan, and they got a little bit frontline with the Yamato.
Yeah, and looks like that's stealing it away from Surgery as well, which could make the draft a little bit harder here for Fearless Fury. See where they want to go from now.
This is a lot of utility too for this team, like the doors, the swaps, the lassos. Like you have so much control. I feel like with the roster Leviathan's running already off the bat, this is very hard to deal with for Fearless Furies if you fall behind.
We have a roster change in classic EU fashion. Apparently Arzo is still asleep, so Fremok is coming in for Fearless Furies late in the process. I don't know if that counts as roster mania, but yeah, I mean, that is interesting, right? It's quite
10
late.
10 p.m. over here, man. How are you still sleeping at 10 p.m.?
I am a mere messenger at the moment. I cannot claim to know all the reasonings behind why certain things happen to you, but that's where we're at. Jake, get us back on track. Fearless Furies coming in for, or rather, Geist coming in for Fearless Furies.
No more hiding.
I mean, Geist is interesting. It's a hero we really haven't seen as much of for a little bit here. I am a little bit scared for Geist in this particular matchup because I think she does suffer from being put in the door middle and kind of like bursted down from low HP, or just like Holiday kind of being able to play at range with you. It'd be hard to potentially gap close. Fearless Furies, though, they are setting up with like a very brawly draft, like a lot of frontlining and brawling potential here. So maybe they'll be able to like run over the opposition here for Leviathan, but the mobility on Leviathan, I feel like this is a really nice strategic response to the idea of like, oh, you have a really powerful front line that maybe is too deadly for us to go through. Is we're just going to go around you, right? We're going to all play mobility. We're going to, hunt and peck at you from all sides. The Mo and Krill could be great at that. Same, as Pocket, Doorman, Holiday, Paradox. And then Yamato, you don't really want to initiate on her first, but that kind of feels like your only option when you're running this frontline look. I like the GT as a last pick, though. I think that's going to be crucial in catching people like Pocket and Holiday as they try to escape and they try to, bail out of an engagement. Maybe GT can be the one to really put that punishment down. And if they can find the lane of sending GT against Pocket, that could maybe be help in the early game, although it might just be GT coming to the mid lane just to slow down what could be a very deadly Paradox Holiday opening lane.
All right, Jason, I'm going to go full Pocket here and put you guys on the spot, starting with you. Who in your mind won this draft?
I think Leviathan. Just the fact that you get Paradox Holiday and you ban Bebop. You basically controlled all the initiates for your team. Fearless Furies have to run at you if they want to have a chance to catch anyone, but you're running up against a Mo and Crew and combo you. You have decent disengage. You have the door as well to get away. Pocket's already slippery. I find it hard to say Fearless Furies wins here when it came to the draft.
Jake, you concur?
Yeah, I agree. I do think there's like a late in a point in the game where Fearless Furies can solve that problem with like Abrams having enough itemization, right? Like I think once you have Phantom Strike on Abrams, once Vindicta has something like Rescue Beam, I think the fight gets a lot more doable for Fearless Furies. And so maybe with the right itemization, they can find it. But I do think you got to give the draft to Leviathan. Like the mobility and the pickoff threat from this draft is insane. Fearless Furies have to have a ridiculously clean game with very sharp team play, because if you split up on the map, I just think Leviathan are gonna have a really good time kind of running you down, picking off players left, right, and center.
I'll shift this one around though, and now go in the other end. Jason started out last time, so I give this one to you, Jake. If there's a win condition here for Fearless Furies with this draft, what are they looking for out of the lane phase in the mid game? Like, what is you have to concoct a scenario that they win with their draft. What is it?
I think there's the real road to victory is just having a pretty respectable laning phase. I think having just enough of an advantage for this heavy frontline setup to be actually taking Guardians around the map and putting some pressure on the high mobility draft from Leviathan. Because what Leviathan are kind of lacking is characters that really want to stand in front of towers and stall out pushes and clear waves. They don't have the best tools for that, in my opinion. They have some decent options, but Fearless Furies definitely could, force objectives early, could pressure Guardians with early group ups, and the Great Talon Bird, providing global presence could give you the snowball to kind of bridge that gap to items like Phantom Strike. But I think it's a more difficult game for the Fearless Furies. I just think if they can execute really perfectly and just deny all these pickoffs, then there's the Holiday in the late game, which we'll see if they have an answer for that. 5 disarming hexes, 6 disarming hexes for Holiday.
The disarming hexes keep going up.
It's going to be OCs. Yeah, invest in the stocks now. But OCs is probably going to be on the Holiday here for this too, which if they feed him the farm, he's going to get fed, and you have to have an answer of preventing him from doing so. I look at Fearless Fury's side. Who's going to be the one solo farming? And I would imagine it's got to be Lady Geist at this point, but I don't know if Lady Geist can hold her own up against an OC's Holiday.
All right, well, the stalling has concluded. The game is about to begin. Leviathan taking on Fearless Furies. Winner goes up against the new King of Europe in the revamped Abrahams. On the mic, it's Jake and Jason.
Thank you very much, ZP. As we get into this one, maybe the best chance yet for Fearless Furies to make it into the money match. For Leviathan, they're thrown together. They're a pug team, but they have a draft that is very much on the meta, right? Tons of individual playmaking. Everyone is super comfortable on the character they've selected. And so when it comes to the individual pop-off potential, it's absolutely there. So Fearless Furies, they need to rely on the laning phase and the early roams and then getting into those late game team fights. But there's so many threats, man, like Affliction and Yamato ult and Mo ult. I mean, there's just a lot to navigate for Fearless Furies. As tanky as some of these frontliners are, in my experience, that's just not enough when it comes to trying to tank through overwhelming incoming damage.
I mean, I'm looking at these lanes here, Jake, and I'm looking at this left lane. First of all, Vindicta Shiv Not the matchup I expected. I was maybe thinking towards Vindicta Abrams. God, I'm saying Abrams now too. Just, oh my God, what a God parry up against Flammable there. But I was expecting like that S tier lane to come out. Gives you a lot of control to have a stable lineup. But the mid lane out of Leviathan is just going to be disgusting. Holiday Paradox paired together.
He shot Mo's hand through the sign. I've never seen that actually. Oh my God. I actually think low key this lane is sick. You have Shred from the bird and like a damage tick over time. Pocket has negative spare resist level 1, and then you have Shiv Knives as well. So this Pocket, if you're hitting him with the Shiv Knives and the Crows from Vindicta, this lane could actually become really problematic. And typically Pocket greeds very hard in the laning phase, trying to just desperately farm up that Majestic Leap, and he might be forced into more early game items in this lane.
I think Flammable needs to go on some Ozempic here, make himself a little bit thinner so he can't be shot so easily around these walls and around these corners. But yeah, the thing is, it's still gonna be Flammable. He's still an insanely solid player, and I would imagine he should be relatively fine in lane for the most part. But as you're saying, yeah, if you're Shiv, you're free mock hitting these shots, though I don't know if he expected to necessarily be playing today. Hopefully he's warmed up and ready to go, and he's gonna be going for the rest of the shot for the extra sustain when it comes to the lane. Surgery though already taken extremely low in that mid lane. And I mean, GET might be good with poke, but I feel like Holiday and Paradox are going to be just a little bit better at it.
Yeah, it's not the first blood you wanted to give out. That is for sure. Nice parry from Geist. Okay, but she's still low, and she's still 2v1 in this lane, taking the barrel shot as well. One more bullet, but both Paradox and Holiday had the reload. So for now, Geist is out of this one, but man, she has to go to base. It's starting to get a little bit scary. ZP throwing down for the prize pool. Much appreciated to our host.
I think that was that a throwdown, ZP, or was that a test?
It was both. I was happily getting my own $5 and also making sure that the link was properly working and wasn't going to the old link.
Man, that's like 2 or 3 Diet Cokes that you gave up for this, man. You're a true man of the people here to make sure it works and to donate into the prize pool. Thank you so much, ZP. We appreciate it instead of the players. Off the bat, though, as we can see, Captain, the extra regen plus close quarters. Again, I was kind of hoping for, you know, the Vindicta here to I don't know, facilitate a strong start for Captain, give them a front line that they can use fairly well. But then again, you do have like a Shiv and Abrams and a Lady Geist. They're gonna have the beefiness they need, but I don't know how well they're gonna play when it comes to Leviathan roaming around in this mid game looking for picks.
A lot of pressure on Infernus in some of these early game trades, but Abrams loves to tank that pressure himself, and Doorman just can't really put the damage down through it. Diving in under the tower here, and it's enough from an auto to take down EPL. That's a big pick for the Infernus, who is an important hero to, I think, get off to a nice start. You really want to get some of those, like that max level afterburn online, get your farm potential going, and seems like this lane with Abrams is really delivering that hot start.
Yeah, I'll give him credit. You know, they're making it work. As we were talking about, or I was talking about expecting a little bit of a different lineup, but as we do see, Coffin getting Pocket extremely low. Empty Dream's just gonna cape himself and cloak away, and Mo and Krill, Flammable, just trying to heal up here with the scoring as much as he can.
Primoc was like one bullet there and somehow just had the sick movement to escape out of that one. But this mid lane, it's going from bad to worse here, man. Like, it's, we talked about this, right? This is the opening 2 picks in your draft. You know this is going to be a dominant lane. I think they put the Geist here as a way to kind of slow the game down and stall it out, but I mean, the stagger is brutal. The reload during that ulti and the swap even thrown in after, and hold on, this counter kill from Surgery actually pretty nice in the mid lane. You wanted a stronger snowball to get rolling here, and I don't know if they're really going to be able to find it. GT's looking for the second.
Oh, going right into his face here for Rake. Looks like he'll survive for now, but eventually going on. OC's picks himself up a double. That must have been from a call bell.
Yeah, slipped it in. And that very lane we're talking about is strong for Fearless Furies. Just gets shut down. The bird coming in. Those some very low targets in this lane. Yamato in particular, she has the ulti. She's going to time this perfect, but no, maybe just in the fog. And in a compromised position, casting that bird, and the punish is immediate here in the mid lane.
Oh. So OC turns that around after going down before, but then Fargareko's going to be there to do it himself as well. So pretty much just throwing.
Nice parry from Surgery there on the GT. Like, just before he died, he still got that parry off on the Holiday that allows guys to secure this counter kill. And honestly, trading like this is actually pretty good for Fearless Furies. I mean, you'd kind of expect Holiday Paradox to dominate this lane, but net worth wise, it's pretty much even. I mean, GT's actually doing better in this mid lane.
He's got the stamina to get away from this one. Should be fine. Also the pressure from Captain, looking to force him back. I mean, they're doing some okay damage, but not enough to actually kill anyone. I think there's a little bit too much survivability. As Doublefine does go into Yano, pops that Shroud Transformation, looking for the Flying Strike yet again here, and again close the distance. But now he's taking a lot of damage from the Walker, or from the Walker, the Guardian. That'd be really deep if he's taking damage from the Walker. This will be fine. Going to retreat away with Rest of Shot to hopefully heal back up more, as the combo has gone in on the other side of the map.
Shiv's too tanky. The snipe is good. Big connection, and Coffin with the follow-up there. And so lanes are actually starting to look pretty nice for Fearless Furies. Still the net worth lead pretty much all tied up. I mean, this has just been a bloodbath of an early game, though. So many kills across every lane. Everybody fighting. Everybody knows they really want to get that hot start. They really want to, you know, start this tempo off. Mo gonna bully Vin back from the tower. No surprise here. That heal bane already being online is a nice find. Geist is diving super deep, trying to get some more out of this, but has already used that swap. Wait, the legend moving. Oh my goodness. And the trade from Surgical. Okay, that is so nasty. That's one of the cleanest escapes we've seen here on DLNS. Wow, okay.
They won't be so lucky next
I
time.
wish I saw it. Good old Italian internet here, preventing me from seeing the crazy jukes, though I assumed he was going to go down. Doesn't have swap anymore. 5.1 thousand souls, though. I mean, if we talk about the soul allocation and currently the way the game stands, it's a decent lead here for Fearless Furies, especially if they can get these Guardians as well to turn it into some of these flex slots. Obviously don't need it just yet, but being allowed to rotate around the map, getting these Guardians down initially would be a huge win for them.
Man, this side lane is just constant kills back and forth, like absolutely no stability for either team. This lane, though, has been pretty decisive. Shiv Vindicta, their tower is almost completely full HP. Mid lane remains on a nice edge, though. I mean, Holiday's so low. This is like one arrow shot from GT, and it just does not feel good staying in lane low HP against Great Town. I mean, you just can't really play the game, and so wisely, OC is going to take that boost back to base.
I'm curious about builds, though, and what he's going to be going for. I'm assuming it's just going to be like a standard gun heavy build, going towards that glass cannon, get the extra attack speed as well. We just see Mo looking for a cache here. He does have combo up, though not really a great priority target. Instead, he's going to be going for Captain. And Captain, I mean, he's just going to shrug it off. It's Abrams. He's big, he's tanky, and he's got horns. Oh my god, he has Overseas head.
Just comes down like a ton of bricks there on the doorman. Now GT showed up in this lane. GT wants to get active, wants to participate in some of these fights. I mean, he's got that rapid recharge. Look at this build, all damage right now. I mean, this is a very early power spike from the Grey Talon. Immediate counter pressure coming in mid. Leviathan wants to punish for this rotate, but the damage may have been done. Yeah, Mo's down, Guardian dropped. And I mean, it's kind of like all fighting from here on out for the Grey Talon. It's a hero that, you know, was super popular, right, for a long time in DLNS, but has actually not been played as much recently.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't remember what even caused that to happen. I remember we had Great Talon being banned constantly every single match, considering the burst damage he could do. Zalasso has come in, and Fargo Echo should be saying goodnight here. No way you're going to get any movement out of this one. And it's just been very back and forth, I feel like, in this mid lane. It almost feels like they're just getting extra aggressive and cocky because they just want to battle it out.
Yeah, both teams are absolutely not backing down. Fearless Furies have opened up a moderate net worth lead here, though. Definitely one that they're going to be happy about for this stage of the game. That kill in the side lane on Ayano opens up the counter side Guardian take. But meanwhile, Vindicta is just happily free farming in left lane. Now she's going to roam maybe over and start sealing some jungle camps.
I do wonder, who are they leaving to solo farm, though? Because it was Coffin, as we saw previously, just trying to push out the left-hand side to get the wave in towards the Walker. Fargo, you got to be careful. He does have swap, but has no way to close the distance here. Looks like he will escape for now, while a push potentially comes in towards the mid lane, looking for that Guardian, which is about half HP. And honestly, like, the Leviathan haven't really positioned themselves well when it comes to these objectives on this mid and left-hand side. And the left-hand Guardian's taking almost absolutely zero damage.
It's a very messy fight taking place here in the side lane. Neither team really getting the kills just yet. Overseas on 1 HP. Surgery gets that cleanup here on the GT. And Shiv's in the backline here looking for some executes. Finds one. The snipe comes in from Coffin to find a second. It's pretty much a cleanup from Fearless Furies. Evicting Leviathan out of their jungle. Re-pushing now and bringing a lot of numbers to mid. This could be a mid Guardian take for Fearless Furies. After all the struggle and strife they endured in that mid lane, they held on. They preserved their Guardian. I think they're likely going to be the first team to open that crucial mid Guardian.
Yeah, and considering Look at the souls as well. Like Surgery's, getting close to 2K ahead of Rake, who is one of his combatants in the lane. OC's at 10, but again, he's being left to farm up quite a bit here. And Fargareko, I guess he has been punished to 7.1. And it looks like they're going to be the ones to actually take the guard themselves. While in the meantime, OC is going to be the one trying to run the urn across the map here, being chased down by Captain, or at least was looking like it. He's going to teleport to actually prevent any sort of turn-in. I'm not sure if an urn turn-in would really be worth it right now. I feel like you almost want Fearless Furies to pick it up so then you can use that to take some Guardians, at least in towards middle.
Pocket just gonna come in, tank a swap, and get out. Honestly, I think it's kind of value for Pocket, right? You tank the health swap from Lady Geist. That's a very long cooldown ult. Yamato potentially trying to run the urn, but this is absolutely going to be contested. The doorman, though, is he able to just slip it in? No one's there in time. They just weren't ready for that level of pace. I mean, this is the value from doorman. You have to be ready so preemptively on the urn drop if you want to contest it at all.
And I love the adaptations we've seen in the growth of how people play doorman, I swear. I mean, was it last week we saw an amazing use. I think it was Gooballs who put a door down above the bridge for the buffs and then went in towards mid boss and put another door down. They made mid boss scream. Then they all went through the door and caught out a haze, which I think was together, if I'm not mistaken, on Abraham's. Like the little innovations like that with now obviously the urns as well. It's so cool to see the skill expression you can show with doorman these days.
Geist just got absolutely kidnapped. The swap into the luggage cart, taking him under the walker, and with no health swap, not even a chance to play his way out of this. Great Talon Bird in the absolute skybox. We're seeing the dev areas of the map right there. As a lasso under tower, this is not where Vindicta wants to be, but she was too high up in the air. She didn't get walker stomped, and now the counter punch.
I mean, I was said 13k. He's still a formidable force, but again, another good pickup here to Fearless Furies. They haven't lengthened the lead too far yet because of that urn turn-in, getting an extra 3k for Leviathan. Though Fremont might be getting caught out here. Yeah, there's no way he's going to escape this one. He's going to fall in the wood on two. So at least Leviathan able to take one back for themselves. And they have been able to clean up all those Guardians as well, as there's none left on the map to go. Though I do wonder, what's Flammable doing that deep in the enemy jungle? He's actually going to be taking stuff on the right-hand side. Maybe sweep around towards this push on the right to maybe get a kill because he does have combo available.
Guys, hero that's super happy, though, to siege down walkers. Putting a lot of pressure now. It's going to just go all in. Going to die for this walker take, but it's absolutely worth there to clean that one up early. OCs wants to get that counter kill. Should be an easy find unless we get some more movement. But yeah, Fargareko just stalls a little bit, buys a little bit more time on the map for the teammates. Affliction coming in as well as the Yamato, but dodging the power slash is a huge deal here. It's giving Infernus just one little chance to get out of this one, but nonetheless, Affliction just too much damage.
Owl coming through. Oh, catches onto Rake. The +5s in chat here for Surgery. It's kind of funny. I remember seeing him, I think Thursday streaming, and his title was No More Gunman. I think he's starting to invest his time into a couple of different heroes here, and I think we're seeing great talent off to a decent start. His owls have been pretty damn on point, to be honest, and he is keeping like the Leviathan back. Like I'm actually kind of surprised to see Fearless Furies keep it this close in this game, and not even necessarily close. Like they're winning technically.
Yeah, I mean, I think GT kind of fits as a response to this style, right? I mean, what is so good about this Pocket and Paradox and Holiday is we always see a big dive on mid. Mo tethered in, just absolutely dunked on by Abrams. Surely a mid-walker siege is unrealistic at this point, but maybe they can go clean up a couple sinners, steal a little bit out of the enemy jungle. Definitely a prize you're happy to take here at 14 minutes.
If this was full on glue balls, though, they would have gone for mid-boss here. Oh, Rake's gonna get caught with the charge and blown up. Fremont coming through with the finish. And that's another kill. If they keep doing this, if they keep picking up kill after kill, and getting these small little advantages, they could easily turn it into a mid boss at some point to open up
Big Bird.
a bigger lead. It's Surgery again. That's like 2 in a row out of him.
Yeah, he's crushing right now, and they're actually turning this into a fight in the mid lane. Here's the explosion coming out from Infernus. That's way too much damage for Mo, and this is what we talked about. I didn't think it would happen in this game, but the front line is starting to just obliterate. Here's OCs, though, pretty farmed up, recognizes he needs to participate in this fight. He's got a big bag on him, so he's taking a risk showing up to this engagement, but seems to be profitable for now. Cleans up the Abrams. He's going to live to tell the tale. Holiday at 19k. At this point, you aren't really going to get the luxury of farming much more. Glass cannon on the slot, and this is time now for OCs. The game is still relatively even. We're going to see Holiday getting active. This is the true test for Fearless Furies. What have they prepared to answer this Holiday? Now it's a real problem for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Captain at 12k, Fargareko at 13k. and Fremont at 15k. Like their front line isn't really that beefy, and the snowball potential of glass cannon now for OCs can be ridiculous. I'm also looking at Coffin at 12k on Vindicta. You gotta be very careful about your positions, and maybe they're actually going to use this urn as a way to feed OC some kills and to start that snowball that they're going to need to kind of get themselves back in the game. I mean, Flammable, he's on the lowest econ I've ever seen someone be at 9,000, 15, almost 16 minutes in.
OC's being caught right now? Like, what's going on? He's in like 1v6 on the map right now. On that left side, what's going on with OCs on this holiday? Yeah, like the whole team is around him there. He's just a race. He gets out of this. It's illegal. He just forced 5 players to chase him, but I think they should be able to get him. The GT bird is enough. And that's frankly just an overplaying of the hand there. You're the most farm character in your team, but you really can't be going 1v5 like that. You are all damage, and you aren't going to win a trade against the entire opposition. We're seeing big walk of pressure come in, though. Split across the map.
I think it might have been intentional though, Jay, because he did pull 5 players over in that direction, and you saw Leviathan respond of like, okay, we're just going to push this right-hand lane and get ourselves a free walker. I guess maybe they didn't expect the counter push to come in other Furies to take the left-hand walker, because they're also denying the earn turn while all this is happening. But I mean, in the end, yeah, OCs, you don't want to be getting caught out here when you are the majority of your sole income for the team, and that's fight on the mid walker is going to continue.
Abrams doing crazy juice to get out of this one. A lot of pressure coming in to chase him, but he's tanky. Is there going to be help from the teammates? Not enough just yet, but see if the other Furies want to get into this one. They are all around on the map. Lowell grabs a second, and that takes down Fargreco, who had the ultimate Affliction onto Shiv, who's caught as well inside the Dorman ult. Let's see if Infernus can carry this fight. It's going to be pretty much all him on his lonesome. 1 down already. Shiv, no execute to find. Got to earn these kills the legit way here. Honest Shiv gameplay. So far, it's turning into a bit of a bloodbath. Iono's on 1 HP on this Abrams. Cannot, or rather on this Infernus, can't take even a little bit more damage, but it's actually Coffin finding the cleanups here on a 5 streak. So Fearless Furies taking the engagement as they wanted it there with Abrams and Geist. They did go down, but they took a lot of damage, a lot of skills on those frontline tanks, and the cleanup did come through.
I think Leviathan are very lucky here, Jake, that right-hand lane was so far pushed up, because Fearless Furies had an easy opportunity for going for mid-boss there. But they were going to lose their base guardians if they did so, giving over not only the control around the map on that right-hand side, but another flex slot to Leviathan. I think if the lanes were a little bit more controlled, we for sure would have seen a mid-boss, and then an urn as well, and then a push here onto the enemy base. It's a little bit of, I want to say a blunder, but I think this is all just like a snowball effect of them pushing that right-hand side when we saw OCs get caught on the left.
It's pretty big that they're able to protect those base guardians. In my opinion, like that fast sip you get from knocking the base guardians is actually pretty valuable, like deceptively important to be able to show up more quickly on that side of the map for the rest of the game. That's never coming back. So now an urn being forced here. Trap on the contest here. Are you going to go for this? Holiday's in first. Oh, you can't do that, OCs. The whole team is not there with you. Gets instantly popped and destroyed by damage. And now you know, Fearless Furies, the gloves come off. They can absolutely hard chase this one. Tether catch onto Yamato as Abrams find the follow-up. Big stuns on players are on the ground. This could turn into a base siege, Jason.
Fargreco does take down Apple fine. Surgery's going to be cleaning up the mid lane to shove it out, and you can see the response at Array to make sure to shove that right-hand lane to buy them some time, but they have to retreat away to make sure, at least for Fearless Furies, they do have the potential to push. Instead, they're finally going for it. They're going to be going for a mid-boss here. They still have to worry about the Affliction out of Empty Dreams, who has it available, and OCs has respawned back in as well, so there is potential for the contest here if they're not quick enough.
They have those Great Talon traps, though, which I think are pretty nice, make it very awkward to get that parry contest off. See if the players get here in time. Affliction comes in, is not enough. Doorman ulting as well. They're really going to go for this one. Tether is good, pulls players away with the Infernus ultimate. Are they going to be able to get that one? Crystal does go to the Furies. 2 more to Leviathan, though. They've already started to find the kills. Now it's going to turn into an absolute dogfight here. Big Bird comes in out of Surgery. The arrow comes in for another stop at this GT so low. She has to try to escape out of the fight. Numbers advantage for Leviathan, but it's going back the other way. Ayano still healthy on this Infernus. Has a chance to play his way out of this one. Full HP Infernus could turn into a real problem now. EPL pops that ultimate on Yamato, trying to force it down, trying to take down Ayano, but Ayano, guys, both still healthy. Despite the numbers advantage, I feel like Fearless Furies still have something to say in this engagement. Pocket over the top. Great movement there to be deployed. And without the ultimate, yeah, Geist just tries to play away out of this one, just tries to slip back under the defense of that walker.
I don't even know how Leviathan, oh my god, they're actually going to come out with the man advantage here if they do take down Ayano.
Maybe. This is a risk. This is a big risk for Yamato right now. Yeah, she went a little bit too deep. She did get that parry off, though. Has enough debuff resistance to get that off. Pretty huge, but the burn is still good enough, and the spawns are coming in, and Leviathan overplayed that chase.
I still don't even know how they actually got it to their advantage or even kept things equal, considering Fearless Furies were on that mid buff for such a long time. They ended up stealing away 2 of the crystals. I mean, I guess a little bit squishier for Fearless Furies if you have to group up with Ayano and Surgery and Coffin all together on the mid boss. A little swap comes through out of Rake, trying to take down Coffin. And here comes the bird to buy him some time for his teammate to escape. It doesn't matter. Osis gets the kill, and that's going to be more importantly stacks for his glass cannon.
Absolute bloodbath. But in all the trades, it does lead to a soul status where it's a favored earn for Leviathan. So this should be a relatively comfortable turn in. Fearless Furies, if they want to contest this, it will be potentially a 5-on-6 as Empty Dream's going to be up a little bit quicker. It's all about OCs really in these fights. I mean, I feel like Holiday has to get so much done, but he's just public enemy #1. There's going to be so much pressure on him. So many players looking for the kills. Doorman, earn turn in. It's going to be good. They carp one away. Abrams getting comboed in deep. But the ultimate from Infernus just barely dodged. Great warp stone from Mo to get out of that one. Ayano's down. That's a key source of damage. Fearless Furies tried to contest this and may have bitten off way more than they can chew. One execute comes in though. Shiv has the resets. Might still have something to say in this engagement, although he's incredibly low, being chased down by many members of Leviathan. Warp stone is good, but not good enough. 2-for-1 trade plus earn, and now maybe more to be had on the cards here. GT desperately trying to get out of that one. A swap comes in, trying to catch that GT. Vindicta clearing lanes on the outside. Has no interest in coming to this fight, Coffin. They already know this one's over. Just a matter of trying to escape.
I don't get how Leviathan keep doing this though, Jake. They weren't in position in mid boss, and yet they still traded equally. They're able to get the earn plus kills on the back of that. They get 3 kills, and they were behind over 10k at that point. And yet the comeback mechanics helping them and pulling them within now 7,000 souls. I mean, Applefine, his build is interesting. I don't know. I feel like what's the identity of this Yamato right now? I mean, you have double shields, but you don't really have like torment pulse. You don't have much spirit power. You don't have much. I mean, you have express shot with some gun damage, but
he's definitely all in on gun, more or less. So this was like gun plus tankiness. I mean, I do like if you're gonna go for like a value spirit item. I do feel like Spirit Strike is actually great on Yamato because you can get those guaranteed melees off, or at least you don't risk being parried when you're ulting. And that does, although it steals resistance, spirit resistance from the enemy, and usually we think about that as like, oh, it's shred. It's also tankiness, right? For Yamato herself, who, there's a lot of spirit damage incoming on her. She can get some of that extra spirit tankiness, have a little bit of threat on the power slashes, but still mostly going to be focusing on gun with that build, and has been forced to build a ton of defensive items, frankly, just to survive in these engagements. I mean, she's kind of solo frontlining, so.
Exactly. I think that's the key note there too to take away from that, is that Applefine's kind of adapted his build to be more of the one to soak the damage, because they need that, as you're saying, with Rake, with Overseas, with Empty Dreams, with OCs. They need that kind of help. And Flammable looking to get the catch. You can hear Coffin immediately fly away, realizing there's a Mo on his heels. But this push on the right-hand side, I mean, there's no objective to take unless you really plan to push up towards these base Guardians. And no one's counter-pushing any of these lanes at the same time. I think they would have sent a full 6-man push on this right-hand lane.
Shiv was dancing with death there, just barely warps them away. Great talent getting the full scout on absolutely everyone there with the bird. So Fearless Furies, they know the status of this one. They want to force it first, getting some good damage on the OCs early. This hero is not taking to a lot of damage, but not very tanky. EPL Fine, though, still finds that burst, and Fargreco just couldn't get the ultimate off in time. And now OC's going to grab the reset, so Fargreco just thought, hey, put a lot of damage on the Holiday. That'll be good enough to start the team fight. I'll get a swap on somebody else. Just didn't take into account the flank from EPL Fine to clear out that Geist and burst her down. I mean, hard Geist game, frankly, right? With all the mobility, there's not really an easy swap on the field for you. I mean, maybe Mo if he makes a mistake, but then if you come close to a Mo on low HP, you could just buy yourself combo to death.
Yep. I like this also. This vision that Empty Dreams is giving his team, because they need to get engaged themselves and not run into a trap. And well, speaking of trap, it's going to be a catch on a captain. He's going to fall instantly with all 6 there. And they're going to continue to push for this one. I think they're looking for their walkers in towards this middle lane. We still have a little bit of time left before the mid boss respawns back in, but they're going to be getting catch after catch here. Shiv trying to get away from this one, and Freemark might have just bitten off more than you can chew. The push is still coming through with OC's leading the charge with a lasso. So it's going to connect. How did that land on a Surgery?
Absolute max distance, and here's that gun damage being pumped in. Holiday, though, maybe has gone a little bit too deep, has to slip out of this one. Geist not doing enough damage for now. OC's is out of the engagement. Fearless Furies may still be wanting to fight this. There's a lot of low targets on the side of Leviathan. And Infernus just can't quite get the kills just yet. Needs to find some kills. Needs to get some healbane procs to heal up and stay alive in this fight. The burns are good. They get the kill into OCs. Infernus somehow gets out of that one. Fearless Furies are dancing with death, but they keep doubling down on these low numbers engagements, and they're making it work. Swap used out from Far Greco, just gets him a little bit of HP, survives just a couple seconds longer. And Furnace, not even in this fight, right? Trying to get back in. Far Greco just dueling it out on low HP, essentially alone here on the Geist. Has 10 stacks Berserker, so you know, don't think it's just an easy kill.
Well, here we go. Call bell. Okay. Well,
Nice
I guess
cart.
he's enough here for overseas. The cart, yeah, like coming through, doing some work. And they do eventually get the man advantage here, albeit just one. And mid boss is spawning in about 10 seconds time, which means realistically, if you're Leviathan, do you want to go for it? With 45 seconds left on Far Greco, there definitely is the chance.
This game has just been so close, like throughout. You know, there's like never been a moment where either team has had a comfortable lead. Just a little disrespectful bird in the enemy base. Just, hey,
What's the cooldown right now on Surgery's Owl? Is it
usually pretty
might
low.
be going the Owl build.
Yeah, I mean, usually you just naturally want to build a lot of CDR on Great Talon. Like your all your damage kind of comes from cooldowns.
Oh my god.
So he might even go Transcendent soon.
55-second cooldown, and he spends like a good amount of time using it too. Like very, very frustrating. The Spirit Sap though that he's got, I don't know how well.
Oh my god, the Doorman's
I
getting
guess it
so
kind of
many
works
urns
for
this game.
Amplifying.
This is like so many urns have gone for the Leviathan. This is their third urn of the game, maybe fourth. I mean, so I think they've gotten them all, or maybe all but one. I mean, it's just been so many times the Doorman has made the difference. So now both teams kind of feeling each other out. Fearless Furies now 10k souls behind. They kind of want to play this one a little bit more cautiously, a little bit more patiently. Abrams defending a Walker crash on the other side of the lane. There's an opportunity to look for something, but with the wave crashing as well on the Leviathan base, seems like both teams just content to clear out some of these fresh jungle spawns.
Oh man, OC's at 36,000.
It's getting problematic. It's getting scary.
Yeah.
I mean, Vamper's
the
probably the next
sharpshooter.
buy. I think Vamper's is kind of a game changer for Holiday at this phase of the game, right? She's got the blood tributes, she's pretty tanky. Glass cannon, lucky shot. You have no damage issues, very far from it.
I'll just add the Vamp Burst on Holiday. I mean, yeah, it's good for the comeback potential, but also it just removes like a period where even with active reload, you're not shooting. You can just go in with Vamp Burst, and
I mean, it's a significant DPS boost, and it's making you a lot tankier because you're just healing up off that damage, right? So you're able to just stand toe to toe against some of these heavy frontliners who have been kind of running OCs down. I mean, they know the threat that Holiday poses. This guided owl from the skybox though has proven so valuable. Pocket hits an affliction on 4, but it cost him his life. Will that be enough in this team fight? Baroness casted here on the Infernus, trying to get out of this one, get back to the teammates and give them some support. OC's dropping a little bit low, has a little bit of pressure on him. Iono's trying to find something to do in this team fight, goes in deep with the ultimate, stuns 2. That's going to be some good value. Doorman trying to get out of this one. But it's a 2 for 0 right now for the Furies, despite being down in the net worth. They're keeping this fight very much in contest. And a burn, maybe Mo could be in trouble here. One more burn from Infernus should be enough for the kill.
Oh yeah, he's a dead boy here, and that's obviously mid boss still available too. But the thing is, you still have to deal with Amplifying. You get a Shroud Transform, gets swapped as well though to Fargareco to try to buy some extra time here to potentially get the kill on towards him. And Overseas and Rake now the 2 left alive against the 5 for Fearless Furies. This almost should be a guaranteed mid boss take.
Yeah,
And they're gonna go back and retreat for it. This is smart.
I mean, this is a tough call for Infernus. Like, to be this low HP doing mid boss feels really scary. I think he just goes for that Fortitude buy just to like survive a little longer. He needs to not take any damage from the mid boss so he gets his Fortitude proc. Super important. But they have the frontliners to tank it, and in the end, it's just a numbers advantage, as you said. But Pocket will be back. I don't think he's gonna have his affliction up in time. I mean, this would be such a desperate temper up area. Here's Doorman, has to do something completely absurd. They dodge the luggage cart for now. 2 crystals already good, and a third as well as 2 huge kills. That could be the backbreaker. This game has been back and forth throughout, but Fearless Furies finally clean up a mid boss with 3 clean rejuves and 2 crucial players to the defense shut down. I mean, there's no Doorman like door into fountain plays. There's no Pocket affliction coming in. This is all signs point to Siege. Fearless Fury is going to grab quick heals on some of their backliners and get right into taking this base.
Bro, Coffin is somehow spiked up in souls. I think with the Assassinate, you saw he was carrying around, I think it was like 1,500 souls there at 29,000 overall. Also, something I wanted to mention that Ayano, he's gone for the dash build. You got the extra charge or rapid recharge in there as well. We haven't seen this build often anymore these days. It's usually go for Catalyst and the Afterburn as your build-up, but he wants that survivability and the chase down, I want to say, to be able to catch it against Leviathan, considering you don't have any sort of initiate other than, well, holding W. But the first trine's going to go down, the second's going to fall as well, and if they get any more picks here, I think there's a real world they could close this game out right now.
I think somebody got lassoed there. Might have been the Abrams, though, one of the few characters who can just soak that damage and shrug it off. Patron to be dropped here. Fearless Furies still fighting this one. Coffin is on absolute 1 HP. Does not want to overstay his welcome here. And Infernus, like you said, that dash build should be out of this one. And I don't think there's going to be any punished kills for Leviathan. This is a chance for Fearless Furies. They can reset their HP, get everyone back to full, and they still have a reach if they want to go for the game end here.
Man, this game has been so back and forth. Leviathan, after finally getting the lead, Fearless Furies take it back with like the back-to-back team fight kills, plus the mid-boss being taken with the kills they got on top of that. I think you take Urn here, and it should almost be guaranteed, unless Leviathan fights you. But then again, you're going to be running with 3 crystals, so it should be a fight that you can take, and you also have to set up around, and more importantly, prevent Leviathan from getting, which I think Captain might be heading that direction to pick up here once shoving out these lanes. But look at Overseas here. He's actually really deep considering where the rest of his team is.
Yeah, Leviathan, I think they want to get some kind of fight going outside of the base, but they're just not finding the chances yet. I mean, if you let Fearless Furies just get on top of the Patron, you're going to be in huge trouble. Here's Mo diving in. Was that a counterspell? Oh, the combo just wasn't even online. It was just enough to block and heal. 2 kills already found. OC's, no, actually, he slipped away from that one. Didn't go down just yet. Jerry is in trouble fighting that Infernus. 2 crystals down for Fearless Furies. But if you get OCs, that's enough of a prize. That glass cannon shattering, losing some of the stacks is not going to matter, though, because this is the end of the game. Fearless Furies cleaning up Leviathan, brawling so long into this game, and finally your winning moment here. Leviathan, only 2 players left alive. Empty Dreams, he's out of this one. He knows there's no hope. Fearless Furies are going to be going on to the money match for, I believe, the first time here in Night Shift, finally, and they had to earn their place here, man. This was a knockdown drag out. One of the most entertaining challenger matches I can remember here in EU.
Fearless Furies finally getting over the hump, getting into the money match, and doing so with a draft that a lot of people, both in chat and on our broadcast, we looked at it and, you know, we kind of had to conceive of, okay, maybe there are ways they can be in this game, because on paper, looking back at this here, Jason, it felt like this was a very Leviathan-centered draft.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of should have been a draft for them and a match that they were able to win. I mean, they had everything going their way. They had OCs getting farmed up. They had all the pick potential with a Mo, with a Paradox. You had Doorman to assist with a Holiday. I think everything did go their way, but I think maybe cockiness ended up getting to them. Thinking back to how the early game started, especially in that middle lane, we did have an initial kill for the side of Leviathan. But then they just started to just hold W and run into the enemy team for some reason, trying to actually put their foot down and kind of stomp the lane and eventually being turned out on. I mean, you got to give credit to a couple of different players on this Fearless Furies team. Like Captain, for instance, able to really become a frontline brick wall for them, but also Sergi on his great talent. I mean, I think Sergi did a phenomenal job early on in that game with that GT, with the ultimates, to pick up a lot of early kills, but also more importantly, kind of have that pressure around the map that you could never feel safe on the other side.
The late game global presence there from the great talent, just always being way up in the skybox, you know, kind of scouting everything out. Not only is that sometimes leading to kills, but at this level of play, like getting the full scout on an enemy team without risking a player's life is pretty insane. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons we saw Calico picked, but you're getting some of that same value out of GT, but much more control, much more raw spirit burst in being able to punish some of these, you know, squishy but highly mobile characters like Pocket and Holiday, who you didn't really get to play their game. I feel like they really struggled with, I mean, we were worried like, hey, is there enough lockdown to stop these players? But the itemization was good enough, the catches were there. And ultimately, the front line was able to force their will. I think, as we said, though, I mean, this early game with the Holiday Paradox, it looked just terrifying. It looked like, okay, this is going to be, you know, a dead to right domination in the mid lane. But it turned into kind of a trade fest. And I think the thing with Holiday Paradox is it's such a strong lane. Trading isn't good enough. You need to have a more dominant lane. And for me, the only dominant lane was really Shiv and Vindicta, which I don't know if it's a lane I've seen before, but I kind of liked it.
The interesting thing to me, Jason, is I go back and think about how this game developed, where I think the first sign that this may not go according to script was just the fact that this game was effectively even going up into the mid game. And in fact, Fearless Furies themselves had a pretty good lead from the get-go. Like, yes, Leviathan was able to bring it back, and it looked like Leviathan was potentially going to run away with things because, you had the late game scaling from characters like Holiday. But, overall, Fearless Furies, I think a lot of people, when looking at the draft and looking at the pedigree of both teams, wouldn't have expected Fearless Furies to be ahead at the points of the game they were ahead at the beginning to begin with.
Yeah, I think I think Arzo might be looking for a new team soon, and Fremont might be being picked up here for Fearless Furies. But no, I look at some of these clips, right? And I'm looking at OCs. I'm thinking back to that contest we just saw a few moments ago. His big play on the left-hand side where he got caught out by 5 players, tried to escape, but eventually did die. I almost feel like he wasn't trying to his fullest extent because of some of these plays, but I might be misjudging it. Maybe there was like a tactical reason for every single one of the deaths that he had, because he's currently sitting on 9. I don't remember OCs ever dying this much when looking at Goo Balls playing, even in their losses.
So I have an explanation for that, and Jake, maybe you agree, but I do think, okay, Holiday does have a lot of evasive options, but OCs has also seemingly spent like 50% of their competitive time in recent memory on Ivy. And you talk about a character with a lot of escapes, Ivy would be pretty well up there between Stone Form and ability to airdrop. Like, Ivy's a really difficult kill, and I sometimes wonder when you shift from a character that has so many ways of getting out of bad situations and you go to a character that, has a little bit less get out of jail free cards, if, some of those habits catch up with you.
Yeah, same with his Mina too, right? Like the Sangwon retreat was definitely one of the things he used quite consistently to pull off these amazing escapes, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I think Holiday has a little bit of that too, right? With the jump pads and the extra air strafing power that lets you kind of outplay opponents and, slip away. I just think this ultimately comes down to team play. Like, I think Fearless Furies just had a much more cohesive game. They had a more clear, strategy as a unit. And as strong as all the individuals on Leviathan were, they just gave up way too many pickups because Fearless Furies, every time you come close to them, Captain was picking you off with the Abrams. We're worried there's not enough catch. I mean, Captain found it so many times. I think Coffin had a monster game on Vindicta, even more so when you look at these stats. That's crazy work on Vindicta. 11 kills, 22 assists, basically in almost every kill of the game, and only 3 deaths. So a huge performance from Coffin here. Give him a lot of credit there. But the draft, we were worried about Fearless Furies. They have all these pieces, but will they play together? Will they have that perfect team play? But they absolutely passed that test against this Leviathan team of many strong individual heroes, but not as much in the way of grouped up team fight around objectives.
Also, Jason, I got another player to nominate here, especially given the fact that they came in quite literally last minute. I think Fremont had a great game on the Shiv. I mean, Shiv is one of those characters where it's easy to underrate in the sense that, Shiv is usually going to do well, but you really notice when a Shiv is having a good game, and you absolutely notice when a Shiv is having a bad game. So Fremont being able to come in and just be very stable the whole game long, put on a very good performance, I think was crucial to kind of tying everything together.
I believe as well he maybe slightly altered his build to facilitate what was happening in the game, because normally you would max your knives first, and I believe even you max your dash, and then you go with your killing blow, your ultimate last. But I believe he actually maxed that second because they were skirmishing so often that the reset potential of him would allow them to snowball, or at least help snowball some of these fights. I'm not 100% sure on that he ended up doing that, but I remember looking around the 23,000 souls, he did max that out. And I think that also made him extra impactful in these fights. I mean, 11 kills, 19 assists, more importantly. I think he definitely did a wonder, considering we have no idea how much time he had to warm up before this game.
Yeah, definitely a very clutch sub. This is actually, I believe it's the build Together made on Shiv. This is a build I like playing a lot of Shiv, or I did for a while. And I was using this build too, where you just get 1 point in the knives, if any, for the laning phase, but he didn't go the rapid recharge. So he's not really building around the knives. He's just building around kind of being a tanky monster, hitting you with his dashes, and then just being unkillable, applying healbane to people, and surviving long enough to the team fight that you're getting infinite executes. So you're not setting up those executes necessarily yourself with the daggers the way a different build might, but you're just saying, hey, other people are going to do that frontline damage. Other people are going to get those catches. I'm just going to make sure we secure all those finished kills, and I'm going to be unkillable. I mean, he's got debuff remover, counterspell, warp stone, and Veil Walker, which is kind of an obscene level of 3k survivability items. But with all 4 together, he could play his way out of almost anything, right? Only 4 deaths across the game. also sick moves from him. I think especially on the individual playmaking, the mobility is a huge skill check on Shiv that Fremont absolutely passed this game.
All right, Jason, it's time to talk about our MVP. I know this was a tough choice because you really could give it to multiple different players here in Fearless Furies, but I want you to go up now and defend why the MVP choice isn't a form of nepotism.
I don't know who the MVP was. CP, I'm not sure.
It was Captain, the guy with the name that's very similar to your last name. That was the joke that we were going
Kaplan
for.
Is what we're calling him here. Yeah, I think considering he wasn't in a quote-unquote S-tier lane, if you think back to how the game started, him and Infernus Ayano did a fairly good job of surviving the lane, but not even just surviving the lane. I think they technically won that lane, which was quite surprising, to be honest. It's not easy these days playing in Abrams, but the initiates he did, the warp stone into charges were great as well. He ended up picking up Phantom Strike too to really get in towards that front hand line. I think just all in all, I mean, pretty solid play that with what you need of like a tanky front line for the team that also provided a lot of utility with like the control he was pulling off.
Yeah, I think Captain, I mean, so many times throughout the game found crucial pickoffs and setups. Like, it was kind of on him this game to be getting a lot of these catches on high mobility targets. I mean, he was able to find Pocket. He was able to find Holiday. I mean, these are not easy catches. Like, I love this play. Backs in, pulls the enemies in a little bit too deep. The support comes here from the team, and the clapback is immense. So, I mean, this catch on the Holiday was pretty backbreaking, right? This was a moment where OC's starting to get out of control, looks strong, but just gets absolutely clapped by the Abrams. So the team play amazing here. And honestly, like this Yamato versus Abrams matchup, especially in the lane, kind of look decent for the Abrams because like you can go for that power slash, but then you're just going to get pinned out of it by the Abrams. So we even saw that later here at this clip as well. But I think that laning phase actually looked pretty sick. Like I kind of liked it. All right, this catch, backbreaking. Like that Pocket had no right to be caught. And it's just a Phantom Strike into a charge out of the Majestic Leap. I mean, that's crazy. I feel like Pocket, usually when you get the leap off, you're home free. Like no one's stopping you.
Can I challenge production after we see these brackets of running back that OC's clip of movement right before he got caught by Captain at the urn? Because that was some very sick movement without stamina mastery. But ZP, as we can see here, and I think Jake pointed out, which was honestly surprising and a very good point I didn't think about, Fearless Furies for the first time making it into the money match, though they are playing against the team that always denies them that chance.
I mean, yeah, this is a team that's the super team of EU right now. It's the newly rebuilt and revamped Abrahams. It's a scary opponent.
Abrahams is channeling all the vibes of old school Hydra Nation right now of, okay, you know, tournament troubles, no problem. Let's just rebuild with the best players all around. Also, I mean, the interesting storyline of, okay, we're parting ways with ABL, and then 2 weeks pass, it's like, we're announcing our new player ABL, but this time with D-Mob. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of went all over the place. But I think we're going to get your replay, Jason. And, yeah, I mean, to break it down here, I think what this was just a bunch of, like, well-timed corner jumps, effectively. They're going
right,
here. And
I have a question for you guys, since I don't know how many you guys are, like, long-time Source players. Jason, so do you know about like how the airstrafing mechanic works in Source?
Of course.
Like,
bro, of course.
Like
I can surf maps all the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
so
I've never done it with Holiday, but I know how that works.
Jump pad gives you like buffs air control, so it allows you to do like much tighter corner turns. Like it's equivalent to like a surf map where you actually have like a much higher air excel, so you can do a really like the crazy, you know, tiny like hairpin turns with the strafe. You can kind of do that on Holiday with the jump pad. So it's pretty sick to see like players really pushing the skill ceiling on the movement system. I think seeing more of that like Source inspired movement in Deadlock for me is a real joy. I think that's one of those things that is a gift that'll keep on giving. I think even many years down the line, we're going to be looking at these insane movement plays in Deadlock as one of the peak expressions of the game skill.
Give me a custom map or like a set of custom maps that are like jump maps or like surf maps in Deadlock.
Like KZ,
oh my God.
Yeah.
I think some of them do exist now, by the way. I may be wrong, but I think there are at least like prototypes of them now. But we do have to take a break. When we come back, it's going to be the money match. The new super team Abrahams reinvigorated up against Fearless Furies, who surprised in the challenging match. Who's going to take home the money at the end? Well, you got to stay tuned to find out.